For the Life of the World is a production of the Yale Center for Faith and Culture. Visit us online at faith.yale.edu.
When the psalmist says, "Taste and see how sweet," he's urging us toward an experience. He's exhorting us to experience dwelling together with God.
This is For the Life of the World, a podcast about seeking and living a life worthy of our humanity.
I can just read.
Yeah, of course.
Wait, where is it? Is it Psalm 33 or 34?
My friends, I'm Evan Rosa with the Yale Center for Faith and Culture, and this is a midweek bonus episode. A little extra bit from Ryan McAnally-Linz's conversation with theological ethicist Adam Eitel.
So here's like how nerdy I am. I'm like thinking of the Vulgate.
That episode, it was a beautiful expression of the way theology must be lived in order for it to truly live up to its full potential. And a very direct observation that the only way to really understand or say anything about patience is to work from the inside the struggle to receive it. As someone who is all too aware of his impatience, I'm encouraged by that. And if you missed it, go back and have a listen. But one of the final points Adam made was actually left incomplete.
Find that verse of scripture that is for you a kind of anchor in the soul for patience. And let it become yours, and let God speak to you through it over and over and over again. I've got a couple. They're in the Psalms.
And here's a bit of a sneak peek behind the curtain how we produce the show. For pretty much every interview we do, I'm sitting in as a producer, asking follow-up questions, taking notes, and thinking about the best points that we can receive from our guests that day.
Yeah, I've got one in mind.
And after Ryan and Adam formally ended their conversation, I asked Adam if he would read one of the Psalms he turns to regularly for contemplation, and the result was really worth sharing with you.
Here's one from the Psalms. This is Psalm 34. I will bless the Lord at all times. His praise shall continually be in my mouth. My soul makes its boast in the Lord. Let the humble hear and be glad. O magnify the Lord with me, and let us exalt his name together. I sought the Lord, and he answered me and delivered me from all my fears. Look to him and be radiant, so your faces shall never be ashamed. This poor soul cried and was heard by the Lord and was saved from every trouble. The angel of the Lord encamps around those who fear him and delivers them. O taste and see that the Lord is good. Happy are those who take refuge in him. O fear the Lord, you his holy ones, for those who fear him have no want. All right, and so here's what Thomas has to say very briefly on those words, taste and see. He says, when the psalmist says, taste and see how sweet, he's urging us toward an experience. He's exhorting us to experience dwelling together with God. Now, the experience of anything comes through the senses, but in different ways, depending on whether the object is close or far away. If it's close, then touch and taste come into play, but each in its own way. For touch senses the outside of the object, whereas taste senses the inside. Now, God is not far from us, and he's not outside us. Rather, he's in us. As it says in Jeremiah 14, you are in us, O Lord. So the experience of divine goodness is called tasting, and that's what 1 Peter 2 says. If you taste, how sweet. Next, he shows what the effect of this experience is, and he says it's the security of love. With respect to the first, he says, see. And now, although when it comes okay, so it kind of goes on. When it comes to physical things, something's first seen and then tasted. But in spiritual matters, it's just the opposite. For one who does not taste does not know. So he says, taste and then see. How sweet is the Lord.
Can I ask one follow-up question?
Sure.
What is it that brings you so much delight and encouragement from that? From not, it's not just the psalm. I can see it's like it's the psalm and then Thomas's interpretation. What about that like puts you in touch with that joy?
Yeah. A couple of things. First, and I mean, this is just a hazard of being a scholarly, nerdy type of person who works on Thomas Aquinas. There's something really thrilling about reading passages like this. I mean, there's a popular notion of what Thomas was like, and then there's a scholarly notion, which is pretty nearly the same as the popular notion. And it's, again, of this kind of lumbering saint who's living entirely between his own ears. And here he's talking about the experience of God. So that's the first thing. But to latch onto that thing, the experience of God, what you can see, I guess, if you see me beaming a little bit, it's just that I know it's real. It's real. You can, the Lord is present, ever present in trouble, and you can know and be known and love and be loved by God, and that's different than thinking about God. And Thomas gave me the courage toward the end of my own formation as a PhD student, and that's a time, if anyone's studied theology, that it will wreck your soul about as quick as anything. Become a theologian. See, it's not easy. But Thomas, it was coming across these passages toward the end of my own formation as a PhD student, where I think, at that point in my life, my faith had fully migrated from my heart. It was living between my ears. It was this cognitive, cerebral thing only. And I felt a kind of a call to the kind of wildness of it, thinking, is this real? And of course it is. And that brings me great joy. It's kind of incontainable. So, yeah.
Thank you so much, Adam. This has been wonderful.
Yeah. It's fun to come and just talk. Thank you, Ryan. It's been great.
Thanks for listening today, friends. Over the coming month, we'll be running a few shorter episodes on Saturdays as we prepare for a bunch of new conversations this fall. We'll still be dropping a new episode every Saturday, but we're especially excited to share what we'll launch in our fall programming on October 2nd, starting with a conversation featuring philosopher Charles Taylor, the influential author of A Secular Age, Sources of the Self, and much more. He'll join us to discuss what's going wrong with our democracies and the growth of shared human values. It's a conversation that covers so much ground. Our epistemological crisis of the post-truth era, the impact of social media on constructive dialogue, the role of Charles's ethical and theological commitments and how they play on how Christians should engage culture, and so much more. We're really excited to bring that and so much more this fall. Thanks for listening, everybody. For the Life of the World is a production of the Yale Center for Faith and Culture at Yale Divinity School. This episode featured ethicist Adam Eitel and theologian Ryan McAnally-Linz. Production assistance by Martin Chan and Nathan Jowers. I'm Evan Rosa, and I edited and produced the show. For more information, visit us online at faith.yale.edu. New episodes drop every Saturday, with the occasional midweek. If you're new to the show, we're so glad that you found us. Remember to hit subscribe so you don't miss any episodes. And if you've been listening for a while, thank you, friends. If you're liking what you're hearing, I've got a request. Would you support us? It's pretty simple, really, and won't take much time. Here are some ideas. First, you could hit the share button for this episode in your app and send a text or email to a friend or share it to your social feed. Second, you could give us an honest rating on Apple Podcasts. How are we really doing? Finally, you could write a short review of the show in Apple Podcasts. Reviews are cool because they'll help like-minded people get an idea for what we're all about and what's most meaningful to you, our listeners. Thanks for listening today, friends. We'll be back with more this coming week.